will be about what happens after the land's developed and you have a finished lot. And now you got to start building, selling, closing, doing customer service, a little bit about the financial end of the business. That will be the third and final section. So that's more of like what goes on inside the house of the builder at the company. This section, probably a lot of you are familiar more with some of the subject matter than maybe the next section. If I can, just a quick show of hands, how many people work as employees of builders who are in the room? So, a fair number who are looking for trade secrets, I guess. No problem. It's a good one. How about civil engineers? Any civil engineers? Just about the same number. Environmental engineers? Last time we had some, I guess they know it all about what we're doing. How about attorneys? We had one attorney last time besides yourself?
Just me.
Oh, it's an attorney.
There's nobody to argue with me.
And that's good too. What other marketing companies? Anyone in the advertising, marketing, finance, mortgage? Yep. We appreciate everything you do for the builders, for our customers. What else? Who works for another type of company, another industry? Commercial broker? Yep. Yep. Manufacturing rep?
Land development.
Land development. Yeah, pretty important. All right, well, we appreciate that. The format of what we're going to do today, similar to what we did at the last session, is the panel here will have a presentation, but it's going to be interactive amongst ourselves. So we each have a different take on it. And what you'll find, and you probably already know, working with different builders, there's a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. We all do things differently. We all have different processes. We have different things we think are important. It might vary from a public company that has to worry about what Wall Street thinks and the investors, to a private company that has to be concerned with maybe an investor, or the people who have money in their company, but also might have a different view on how what's important. They're generally more internally focused about what's good for the owner. And the owner isn't 10,000 shareholders, it might be one person. So that might operate differently. So the different viewpoints you're going to get from professionals to builders. But what makes this the best, I think, is as if everyone in the audience asks questions or adds to what we're talking about. Because pretty much everyone here will know something that we don't know. Because you focus on it every day, you're doing a part of the job generally, as opposed to us talking about the overall job. So if you could add, or if you have questions, feel free. Just raise your hand or chime up and add to the conversation. And I think we'll all get more out of it because we could all learn from each other. So with that being said, my name is Jerry Berman. I'm with MI Homes. I'm the area president for this area, Washington metro area, and Baltimore metro. I was the president of NVBIA, and this is an NVBIA session sponsored by Future Leaders and Women in the Building Industry. So I was president last year. I've been in the building business since 1980, before some of you were born, no doubt. There's only a few older ones than me.
I'm retiring, so I'll be 65 next year.
Good.
Thank you.
This is Howard Katz. give us a little bit of
Yeah, good morning, I'm Howard Katz. I've been in the industry, I don't know, a few decades. I have a degree in land planning, worked in local government, worked for a civil engineer, got into home building in the late 80s, went through a recession, 1991, was out of work for about 18 months, sold trash compactors, painted houses, got back in the industry in the early 90s, and currently work for Michael Harris Homes, which is a private home builder based in Rockville, Maryland, and we build about 65 to 100 houses a year. And I do acquisitions and development.
Howard, Karen.
Good morning, I'm Erin Siebert with Wolf Lucci, and I'm a transactional attorney there. I originally am from Texas, and so a little bit of my accent slips in, I apologize. I came to this area originally to pursue an equestrian career. You can see how that turned out. And I ended up getting into law, and particularly real estate and development law, because I come from a family of general contractors in Texas and just naturally flowed right into it. So I've spent a long part of my life dealing with the construction industry and real estate development matters, whether I like it or not. Part of what I do is draft whatever documentation is necessary from the beginning of a deal all the way to the end. So I can be involved in a project from day one until year 10, when they decide finally everything's built out and they're ready to pass it off to the HOA or whoever's taking over after that. So it's an interesting way to practice because you're involved with things that last for so long, and I enjoy that part. And there's a lot of different aspects to it, and it's always fun to deal with the people on the front end, and then as the construction continues, and then dealing with it when it goes off to be passed to the end user, so to speak. So that's what I do.
I'm Truett Young. I'm the Vice President of Land Acquisition for Stanley Martin Homes. My background, I'm third generation highway builder. My family's from Louisiana. I came up here in '96 to work for a paving company. Spent some time in the paving industry, then found my way into the site development industry. Spent 5 years working for a site development company where Stanley Martin was one of my contractors, or one of my owners. 2005, I went to Stanley Martin as a land development estimator, and have kind of been here ever since. And I've found my way through their land department, learned a little bit about engineering, learned a little bit about acquisitions, and learned a lot about builder perspective, and here I am now. So I manage the land acquisition effort for our Virginia and Maryland groups with Brian Steffen, who's sitting over there against the wall. So that's kind of what I do.
And you can see there's a lot of backgrounds here, all having been in the building industry a long time. One of the things the MBBIA is trying to do is help younger people or people who aren't in the industry that long develop their careers and reach their goals. And part of the way that was intended to happen and what our goals were was this course, but in addition, the mentor program, which was introduced recently, and what that is by signing up for this course, you're automatically signed up as part of the mentor program. And the idea there was to enable anyone who had a question about their career or about the way the industry works, something that they needed help on, would be free to ask a group of mentors. And there was a handout given, a pamphlet here, and you can see in this that I think there's 20 or so building industry leaders in our area that have volunteered to help anyone who might want help. One of the things that we've attempted to do, and we're getting closer to doing, is having a easy access and an easy website that anyone could go to that would be confidential. So kind of like a Survey Monkey type thing, where you go in and no one really knows who you are, but you fill out this, there'd be a question that you could ask, and then it would go to the mentors with a return. We tried it another way, and it hasn't worked quite as well, though some people have taken advantage of it. And we're in the process of now getting this different portal available to everyone. So you'll be seeing that coming in the future. But that's for everyone's benefit, and hopefully through this course you'll also learn, and it will help you in your careers. We'll start this off today with a program that Howard actually put together, and we're working off of that. Howard,
It's all my fault, so blame me.
and if you see any typing errors or anything, you know,
It's all my fault.
it's all his fault.
It's all my fault. It's always the Land Act guy's fault. If the job isn't successful, it's the Land Act guy's fault. Just remember that. Or land development. Could be land development's fault. Could be land development.
And with that, it's not always true, but
That's a division president speaking, so it's never his fault.
there's a lot of money that gets invested, and it's a huge
Actually,
decision.
the biggest amount of money invested is the acquisition and development costs. Everyone thinks the construction cost, the house cost, but the biggest line item in home building is acquisition and development.
And more so these days, land prices have gone up, housing prices haven't gone up as quickly, so land's becoming a bigger component of the overall package. Howard will talk now.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, right on time. So, you have an agenda. We're going to go through various aspects of acquisition and development. So, land acquisition. So, what is it? So, we're kind of working from the back of the book forward. I'm sort of giving you the definition that I look at for acquisition. And some people would say land acquisition is all about location, location, location. Everyone says it's real estate, it's all about location. And that's the opportunistic way to look at acquisitions. You see a piece of dirt, you think it's well located, it's an opportunistic opportunity. So land acquisition, as I look at it, again, is matching a creative, instinctive vision, which is the property, to transform an idea into reality, which is supported by market research. And what we're going to talk about a little further is about market research. I believe is one of the key elements to Land Act. Land Act is all about land use and zoning. It's about development costs. It's about house costs. It's about your financing, but it's supported by market research. And it sounds a little scientific, and it is, because the market research portion is about behaviors, about the consumer. Who's your target buyer? Who's your target segment? So we're going to talk a little bit. I'll get into, you have your first-time buyers, your second-time, your move-up buyers. You have active adults. You have seniors, and then you have geographies. You have maybe Chantilly in Fairfax, or you have Eastern Loudoun, Western Loudoun, Spotsylvania, the Route 95 corridor, the Dumfries area, Woodbridge, or you cross over the river. We're in Virginia world, so we won't talk too much about Maryland. But again, the Land Act process builds from the market research, and the analysis reveals buyers' needs and market opportunity. And that's the strategic piece that we're going to touch on: buyers' needs and wants, the target buyer and target product. This kind of breaks down how, at least I view land acquisition. There's a traditional approach to land acquisition, and that's, you find a site, so you're driving around, and you see a farm sitting in the middle of a subdivision of singles or towns. So you're like, why is that property still undeveloped? So you look into that site, you find out what the zoning is, you look at land use, you look at what's developed around it, what are my development costs going to be associated with the property, what are my permits and fees going to be, and then you figure out what product. It's surrounded by singles. You think, well, maybe it should be a single-family detached neighborhood. If it's surrounded by towns, maybe it should be towns. The property might sit on Route 50 or Route 7 or 606 or some major highway. If it has frontage, maybe it could be a multi-family piece. So, and then you base your feasibility on what you see happening around it, which is the market size. Who are the direct competitors? Is it Stanley Martin? Is it MI? Is it Richard American? Is it KHOV? Or is it a multifamily site? Is it someone who's building multifamily? And you look at absorption rates and patterns for surrounding direct competitors. And you get third-party market research. We use a lot of third-party market research during the Land Act process. Delta Associates, George Mason University, I'll have some examples in here from Metro Study, Hanley Wood, these might be names you've heard of in the industry. MRIS is a good resource for what your indirect competitors are. It's the resale market, because the resale market sort of is directing you to the valuation of the area based on product that might be 5 years old or 10 years old, but it gives you at least a basis for an estimate on what home sales might be. And then, of course, there's builder data that just through conversations you might have within the industry to understand what's in the pipeline, what's coming up. That parcel that's vacant, that's surrounded by singles and towns, there might be another parcel vacant down the street that's already under contract to Truett, or under contract to Jerry, or under contract to Dave DeMarco at Pulte, or someone like that. So your conversations within the industry will also get you that information. You price the product based on all your costs. You figure out, okay, what can I build the house for? I assume it's going to be towns. What can I build the house for? What are my development costs? What are all my fees? And what's the end price have to be? And you're sort of backing into what you can pay for the land to try and understand what you think the valuation of raw dirt might be. And then, of course, you take it through the process and you market it through a shotgun approach in that you set up a sales trailer, you go into the Washington Post, you go into emails, direct mails, the typical process, and you market the neighborhood. Realistically, on the land price, when you look at a piece of dirt, if you reach out to that guy who owns that 5 acres, he's got a value that he wants for the property. So he's going to tell you, I think it's worth $10 million, and your analysis might say it's only worth 7. And that's how sort of the land acquisition process might start with that one parcel.
Let me just add a little, if I could.
Sure.
What Howard's talking about is very complex, and it really takes a lot of information that you have to garner before you want to make a decision about buying land. And he's talking about the ways to get that information, and one of the key ways is talking to people in the industry. Engineers, lawyers frequently know about land. They know about, hey, this parcel just sold for a certain price, and it might be very similar to the one you're looking at. So it gives you an idea of what you might expect to pay, or might expect the seller is going to want for that additional parcel. A lot of years of experience go into being really good at land acquisition. It's an art, and it's a people skill art, as well as an information art.
Yeah, I'd say, I just kind of went through it kind of quickly, but there are a lot of moving pieces, and part of the Land Act process, again, I will get to the market research piece, because I really believe that's the key element. In Land Act, you have to sort of be a generalist. You need to understand development costs, understand land use and zoning, how you get through the jurisdiction, understand the legal side a little bit with regards to, from a contract standpoint, how you can acquire the property versus the entitlement process, dealing with the jurisdiction. So there are a lot of pieces that go into understanding what should be best for this 5 acre or 10 acre or this vacant piece of dirt that we drive past all these vacant parcels all the time, and I'm like, why is that still vacant? When you do a little research, all of a sudden you find out there's a conservation easement on it because someone's using it for forest conservation to meet the requirements for a site next door, or there's a stream valley that goes right through the middle of it and it can't be developed. So for every one site you might do, you might look at 5 or 10 that